Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Campus Care Presents Panel Discussion. I, Mehek Dhiman, your host for the day, would like to welcome you all. Panel discussion is a platform where educators and leaders come on board and express their viewpoints on topics related to education and society. A topic for the day is managing school finances and budgeting and resource allocations. And to express their viewpoints on the same, we have with us Shalini Arora ma'am, principal of Veda Vyas DAV Public School. A very warm welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here today. Uh, I would also like to tell the audience that Shalini Arora, ma'am, she's been in education field since 1992, and also Ved Vyas DAV Public School. It has been awarded Best School in West Region by our Honorable Chief Minister of Delhi. Very congratulations, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, ma'am, managing school finances and about budgets and resource allocations, ma'am. So, when you are creating a budget, ma'am, what are the things that you might keep the needs of the school in your mind? So, when do you are creating a budget? So, how do you actually create a budget that reflects the need of the school only? That you think is that sums up the needs and the requirements of the school, ma'am.
See, first of all, I must congratulate NTAP for this platform, and of course that this panel discussion is on school budgeting, which is the flavor of the season. Actually, right now we are all working towards creating the budget for the next academic session. So I think this is a very opportune time to be talking about such an important topic, which is so instrumental to schools. For schools, the only source of income is the fees that comes in from the students. And we have a fair enough idea of what fees we will be getting from the students. So that is how, and we know that this is our salary expenses, the establishment. The major chunk of all school expenses is the establishment expenses. So when we know that these are our establishment expenses, this is the income that we have or the receipts that we have, then we can easily plan that this much is the leftover, and I can just spare some amount for the recurring charges like electricity, water, rentals, taxes, etc. And whatever is left over is for the continual improvement programs or the programs in school infrastructure and providing new resources to staff and students. So that is how we go about it.
Thank you so much, Shalini ma'am. So moving on, we have with us Indu ma'am. Indu ma'am, very welcome. Ma'am, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry for a bit late.
No
Actually,
worries, ma'am.
I was before time, then I got
No worries,
late
ma'am. No
again. I had
worries.
to
Very
switch.
welcome,
Yeah,
ma'am. So we have with us
thank
Mrs.
you.
Indu Sharma, ma'am, principal of Sundardeep World School, Ghaziabad. Indu, ma'am, we have with us Shalini Arora, ma'am, principal of Vedavyas DAV Public School. She was just explaining us about how can when they are creating a budget. So how they what are the things that they keep in mind that reflects the need of the school, ma'am. So, ma'am, moving forward, when you are creating a budget, how do you forecast revenue and expenses, ma'am, accurately?
Accurately, when you are in a school system, the term accurately and budget they are not so synchronized. Because there are not many factors. Any activity coming up, any major event coming up, which we at times decide on the spot. So budget decision, we make budget on the basis of couple of things. First thing is the projection of admission, the strength. How many students, children are we going to have in the coming year? That will first of all decide the incoming income and then the expenditure as per the children. How many classrooms are to be set up? How many teachers are to be hired? Their salaries, various labs have to be upgraded. This all planning. Actually, this is the planning time. We are in the time we are discussing, and this planning is going on. Every year, by the grace of God, we see a good influx of students coming in. So our labs infrastructure, computer infrastructure, IT, and many other things, stationery requirement for the school, everything goes little higher each year. And this is the time, and the keyword is projected strength. So we go by projected strength, and everything becomes proportionately high, and calculation is done accordingly. Majorly, budget is defined after planning, after our annual planner is ready. Once our annual planner is ready, we have decided the budget for each and every activity and event and annual functions, sports day, visits, trips, whatever, and then yeah, marketing. So everything we take care. Accordingly, we decide on the budget for the coming. So again, I'll say the main thing is the strength. How many children we are expecting next year in the school system. Accordingly, we hire the teachers and everything.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much, Indu ma'am. Very wonderfully explained. Shalini ma'am, firstly, would you like to add something to Indu ma'am? And also, ma'am, how do you ensure that you are, managing cash flow effectively, ma'am?
See, I would just like to add on to what Indu ma'am said. Students leave in the class 12th of the school. So you know that many students are going to leave. They're not part of your, they're not adding to your income next year. And the intake is that you do is primarily at the entry level class. So you know that this is the capacity at the entry level, and this is the number of students that will come in. So as I said, we have a fairly stable idea of how many students will leave and how many will be added. Now, so that we can be at par, we know exactly how much we need. Exactly, we cannot say because sometimes there are withdrawals even in intermediate classes. Then transfer cases are there. Students join your school, students come to your school. So we have a fair enough idea of what will be my strength next year, and then we allocate our resources accordingly. Now, as regards cash flow is concerned, it is at times a serious concern in schools because parents do not stick to the stipulated time schedule for fee payment. Uh, as I told, only source of income is if schools are able to pay salary on time and pay the payment of fees to causes a delay in their electricity bills or water payments. Now, to maintain that kind of cash flow, the schools must have a backup or a surplus, which in the current scenario is not there with many schools. So, given that maintaining that cash flow is getting tricky, especially in Delhi schools, keeping in mind, that the Delhi schools are currently in a hand-to-mouth condition, census for the month and carrying on. Now, that is a very tricky question in the current scenario.
Absolutely, ma'am. Very beautifully. Thank you so much, Shalini ma'am. Very beautifully explained. Moving forward, Indu ma'am, uh, uh, Shalini ma'am was just explaining how does she make sure that she is, the school is managing cash flow effectively. Ma'am, would you like to add something to it? How do you manage cash flow effectively, ma'am? Ma'am, you're on mute.
Post-COVID era, managing cash flow has become a Herculean task.
Yes, ma'am.
And there is one team, I believe, now in every school, which task is only to ask for money because parents have got into a habit of not paying fees on time. The only issue is on time. They do pay since the economy has now opened up and we are growing economy, they pay but not on time. That doesn't help us. You know, our budget is based on monthly basis, quarterly basis. So we have made a policy in the coming sessions, and we have given certain incentives to the parents who are ready to pay, willing to pay annual fees or something, some major discounts, so that when it comes to giving the facilities, parents are very vocal about it. I'm not criticizing the parents. Yeah. I'm just talking about the basic human behavior. If we falter, we fail in any of the facilities, which we are supposed to give, there is a major issue. And when it comes to them giving us the non-stop on uninterrupted fee supply, or where you can say cash flow supply, there they tend to take it easy. We have to maintain that balance, equilibrium here. Explaining the parents through messages, through orientations, through meetings, PTMs, that the only way the school functions smoothly and well is the proper payment of fees on time. On time word is very important. So it's a very delicate issue. We cannot be harsh on the parents. They are our clients, and we cannot be very lenient with the parents, because then the money will not come.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is a very tightrope, walk situation, and where we have to handle the things uh, in a very efficient manner, taking care of the sentiments of all the stakeholders involved, which involves children as well. You cannot point out the children in the classroom. So, moreover, you also have to ensure that whatever is the fee payment issue or the money issue, it should not reflect on the child.
Child.
So, tough job. We manage it somehow. And this year, as compared to previous years, the success rate was higher. But majorly, principals are at the receiving end. So, account department, admin department. So, principals hear a lot. Maintaining cash flow, I think, has become altogether a separate module of the school management system. Earlier, that was accepted by the parents that, yeah, the child is studying in the school, we have to pay the fees on time. Now it is not. Now it's like the child has to study in your school, and we will pay the fees as per our own wish.
Yeah.
So it's a really hard work to get the fees. I think this year was little tougher. Next year onwards, I assume that things will ease out if there is no another H3N2 or some other pandemic or whatever outbreak. If everything goes all right, I think parents should get in tuned to release the payments effectively on time.
Absolutely, ma'am. Let's hope we do not have to face another pandemic. Thank you so much, Indu ma'am.
It was a very fine.
Sorry, ma'am, you were speaking something. Please go ahead.
I was saying it has been a very fine balance getting the parents to pay the fees on time, because during the COVID or the pandemic period when schools were closed, there was no fine on payment of fees.
Okay.
So parents did not remember to stick to the time schedule. Even when schools reopened after pandemic, most parents were surprised when the late fine was levied for the first time. So they had to be reminded that this was a regular feature of school. You are expected to make payments to school on time, for which the school has been providing you timely services. So those things we are coming back in the process, but I think parents need to be very proactive and pay up the dues on time. They are getting the services every day. The teachers are doing their best to educate the students, give them a well-rounded learning, and they have been doing their best even in times of pandemic when the staff was not getting full salary. So I think hats off to the faculty of schools for that they have worked hard even during the pandemic time.
Absolutely, ma'am. Lastly, Shalini ma'am, when we are speaking of the resources and allocating resources, so ma'am, what are some of the ways, some of the strategies that you would have found, during the pandemic or after the pandemic, that to be, effective while allocating the resources in your school, ma'am?
See, we have a committee, and we have a technology of using continual improvement programs.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
have some programs lined up for the school. We have a very humongous infrastructure spread over 4 acres of land, and we know what thing needs improvement. Where should we do some renovation? Where should we add some state of the art technology? Maybe enhance the computer labs or enhance the physics or chemistry lab or the ATL labs. So we ask our teachers through their representatives, where do we need this allocation of budget beyond establishment? Again, I would like to reiterate that word. All these infrastructural expenses are not done at the cost of establishment expenses. That is the primary, aspect that this has to be met first, and then whatever is left over, we allocate to different infrastructure resources. There was no spend on infrastructure during the pandemic period because it was difficult to meet even the establishment.
Yes,
Now that is over, our programs are back on track. We are moving towards providing facilities to staff, students, and of course their parents. The infrastructure, after 2 years when schools reopened, everything was in disrepair. Every item that you look at after 2 years of disuse, it needed repair. It needed work on it. Now a major amount of the school spend was on getting the school to reopen. Sanitization was a major issue which we needed. We had to spend resources. We had to hire people to do sanitization every day. Those were added on expenses which were not budgeted for. Now, when we have these type of expenses coming up, we are resilient enough. Those are accommodated into the system, and we take care of it. But yes, things that we know in our annual planner, the programs that will be happening, the activities that the Department of Education will give us, that the CBSE will give us, or that our management will give us, all those we plan for, and we know that this is the amount of money that will be spent on each program and how we need to finance those programs basically from the budget. That's what we do.
I think that's really great, ma'am. Thank you so much, Shalini ma'am. Indu ma'am, would you like to add something to Shalini ma'am? How do you, what are some of the ways that you would have found, to be effective for allocating resources in your school, ma'am?
Allocating resources, as we are discussing, it all depends majorly on fees, but we do not depend entirely on fees. If management starts, it's depending on the fees which we are giving them to run the school or to upgrade the school or to beautify the school. Technically, that won't be possible. So, uh, we take a good amount of budget or money or whatever you can say from the management before we start giving them the money. So in that case, in the beginning of the session, we tell them this is the expense we are expecting and this is the revenue which we will be able to generate. It should be matching each other.
Yes, ma'am.
But when the revenue will come to the school, which will be the last date, we are able to submit this much amount to the school coffers. We are not very sure about ever since pandemic. So our budget includes marketing, upgrading of the labs and other systems, sports fields, classrooms, adding on classrooms every year, hiring of teachers, their salaries, increment. So many factors are there. So considering each and everything, new furniture, new smart boards, and everything, we prepare a budget that this will be the average salary per month, and whatever we get a particular amount issued to us. Okay. And we assure the management in a way that we will be able to generate as per our projected strength this much revenue for the year. Even if our input is less than the our requirement, what we have given, it's okay. Management has to understand that after pandemic, schools are really not in a good shape, and getting profit and bearing our own expenses at times becomes very difficult.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think for a couple of years we have to manage. But then we ensure somehow by end of the day that school is not at loss. But once the session gets over, we ensure that the system is not at loss.
Absolutely, ma'am. Very wonderfully.
See, the management or the trust plays a major role in
Yeah.
managing or making school policies. They are also responsible. They have completely held our hand during the pandemic days when we were not getting any fees or revenue. It was the trust and the management which was giving us the monies, to be able to pay salary to the staff. It is not that yes, but yes, still the source of income is still the fees of the school only primarily. But yes, there's a lot of hand holding from the management in terms of not just finances, in terms of expertise, in terms of capacity building program for teachers, in terms of inter-school competitions and lots of things. There are many ways in which the management or the trust is helping us. So that is what I would like to add here.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much, Indu ma'am. Thank you so much, Shalini ma'am, for being here today. It was wonderful listening to your experiences and viewpoints upon managing finances among schools.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Wonderful
Mehak.
meeting you, ma'am. Shalini.
Thank you, Indu ma'am. Same here.
And for all
First
the
Sunday we meet offline.
Sure,
sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay. Thank you.
And
Bye.
for all
Thank
the
you, Mehak.
viewers watching us out, do not forget to subscribe to our channel for more stuff like this. Thank you, ma'am. Have a great day, Indu ma'am and Shalini ma'am.
Bye. Thank you.